Okay, hello. So in this discussion, we will discuss the tax remedies of the government. This will pertain to the actions that the government can do to enforce tax collections and assessments. Our objective is for the students to be able to discuss the remedies of the government to enforce collection from delinquent taxpayers. There are two types of remedies that the government can do. First is extrajudicial remedies in tax enforcement. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pa natin siya dadalhin sa korte, wala pang mga cases. And another are judicial remedies in tax enforcement. Of course, before tayo mapunta sa mga kaso, we have first to exhaust extrajudicial remedies. So these remedies must be first exhausted by the taxpayer before judicial recourse. When it comes to administrative or extrajudicial remedies, meron tayong dalawang klase, distraint and levy. When we talk about distraint, it refers to the seizure by the government of the goods, chattels, or effects of personal property of whatever character, including stocks and other securities, debts, credits, bank accounts, and interests in and rights to personal property of the taxpayer. So, pwedeng kunin ng government ang ating mga personal properties. Itawag doon ay distraint. Kapag levy naman, yung real property and interest in rights to property of the taxpayer. So again, extrajudicial remedies, meron tayong distraint of personal properties and levy of real properties. Okay, let's talk first about distraint of personal property. Kailan ba to nangyayari? Kailan ba to pwedeng gawin ng government? Upon the failure of the person owing any delinquent tax or delinquent revenue to pay the same at the time required, ibig sabihin, hindi nakapag-file, hindi nakakapagbayad within the deadline, the commissioner or his duly authorized representative shall seize and distrain personal property of such persons in sufficient quantity to satisfy the tax or charges together with any increment thereto incident to delinquency, and the expenses of the distraint and the cost of the subsequent sale. So, pwedeng kunin ng government yung personal property, yung mga TV, yung mga ref, para ipangbayad dun sa hindi mo nabayarang taxes. And bukod doon, yung taxpayer din ang mag-shoulder ng expenses sa pag-distrain, sa pagkuha ng personal property, and sa pagbenta. Okay, yun po ang first type of extrajudicial settlement. So, syempre, hindi naman natin pwedeng ibigay, may pumunta lang sa bahay mo, sabihin nila, ay, may kulang kang taxpayer, kukunin ko ang personal properties mo. Hindi naman pwedeng ganon. Of course, meron sila dapat ng written authority. And may guidelines din yon kung sino ang allowed, depende sa amount of the tax liability. So, if the amount involved is 1 million pesos or less, yung revenue district officer or yung taga-RDO nyo, sila ang pwedeng mag-enforce ng distraint. But if the amount involved is more than 1 million, his commissioner or duly authorized representative. Okay, so when we talk about distraint, meron ding dalawa pang klase, garnishment and constructive distraint. Kapag sinabi nating garnishment, ito na yung papakialaman na nila ang iyong bank accounts. It shall be effected by serving a warrant of garnishment upon the taxpayer. And of course, since bank account, pwede din nila yung iserve sa president, manager, treasurer, or other responsible officer of the bank. For constructive distraint of personal property, it shall be effected by requiring the taxpayer or any possession or any person having possession or control of such property to sign a receipt covering the property distrained and obligate himself to preserve the same intact and unaltered and not to dispose of the same in any manner whatever without the express authority of the commissioner. So, sa constructive distraint, hindi nila kukunin yung property mo, pero papapirmahan ka nila ng listahan na ito ay under constructive distraint, hindi mo sila pwedeng ibenta or i-dispose ng walang authority ng commissioner. So again, garnishment sa bank accounts, constructive distraint, hindi kinukuha yung property pero hindi mo siya pwedeng i-dispose without their authority. So kailan ba ginagawa ang constructive distraint? First, if the delinquent taxpayer is retiring from any business subject to tax. Pangalawa, intending to leave the Philippines. Pangatlo, intending to remove his property in the Philippines or to hide or conceal his property or to perform any act tending to obstruct the proceedings for collecting the tax due or which may be due from him. So ito yung mga pagkakataon na pwede kang gawa ng constructive distraint. Okay. So paano kung yung taong nagpo-possess or nagko-control, taking control of your personal property na dapat will be under constructive distraint, ayaw pumirma dun sa listahan? Okay, ano ang pwedeng gawin ng government? First, ililista nila yung property and maghahanap sila ng two witnesses. And after that, they can leave a copy thereof in the premises where the property distrained is located. So, halimbawa, nagtatago na yung, yung person in charge. So, pwedeng pumunta sa barangay yung, yung BIR personnel, silang kuning witness. Tapos, iiwan na lang yung list ng properties under constructive distraint sa location ng property. After which, the said property shall be deemed to have been placed under constructive distraint. Now we will talk about the levy on real property. So, kailan ba pwedeng habulin yung ating mga real property? After the expiration of the time required to pay the delinquent tax or delinquent revenue, real property may be levied upon before, simultaneously, or after the distraint of personal property belonging to the delinquent taxpayer. So, pwede daw habulin ang real property either before, during, kasabay ng personal property, or after. In case the personal property of the taxpayer is not sufficient to satisfy his tax delinquency, the commissioner or his duly authorized representative shall, within 30 days after the execution of the distraint, proceed with the levy on the taxpayer's real property. So, kung sa simula pa lang nakita na ng BIR na kulang yung personal property, pwede na nilang unahing habulin ang real property or isabay na yung dalawa. Pero kung sa una akala nila sapat na yung personal property tapos nagkulang, kailangan nilang within 30 days, kailangan mahabol na nila din yung real properties natin. Or ng delinquent taxpayer. Okay, so paano kung nakuha na yung personal properties na iba, real properties, pero nagkulang pa din? So, ang sabi daw sa batas, the remedy of distraint on personal property and levy on realty may be repeated if necessary until the full amount due, including expenses, is collected. So again, kapag nag-fail tayo sa pagbayad ng mga tax liabilities, of course, i-audit muna yan. And kapag hindi pa rin, pwedeng habulin ang properties natin ng paulit-ulit hanggang mapunuan natin ang ating utang, including the expenses sa pagbuha natin ng ating property and the sale thereof. Okay, so let's distinguish distraint from levy. So again, distraint is the seizure of personal property. Yung ating TV, ref, mga electric fan, mga sofa. While levy is the seizure of real property, yung mga bahay and lupa. Para ma-identify mo naman yung personal and real property, so ang personal property, pwedeng siyang kunin ng, pwedeng buhatin, ganon. Real property, hindi mo naman pwedeng buhatin ang bahay at saka ang lupa. Okay? So in this train, the government may purchase the property if no sufficient bid is received. Kasi pinapabidding yan ng government. Tapos yung proceeds, yun ang ipangbabayad sa tax mo. In case wala daw magbid, pwedeng bilhin ng government. While in levy, the government shall forfeit the property. So kukunin na nila yung titulo sa iyong house and lot. Distraint and levy shall not be availed of where the amount of tax involved is not more than 100 pesos. Okay, kapag hindi naman lumalampas sa 100 pesos yung ating tax liabilities, tax dues, hindi naman nila pwedeng kunin ang ating mga personal and real properties kasi masyado namang mababa yung amount. So the distraint of personal property and levy of real property are the extrajudicial remedies. We will now proceed to the judicial remedies in tax enforcement. As mandated, no civil or criminal action for recovery of taxes or the enforcement of any fine, penalty, or forfeiture under the tax code shall be filed in court without the approval of the commissioner. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pwede mag-proceed sa judicial settlement without prior approval of the commissioner. There are also two types of judicial remedies. First is the civil action, which is a case filed before the regular courts requiring the taxpayer to pay taxes. And criminal action is also a case filed before the regular court requiring the taxpayer to pay the taxes and enforcing penalty against him for violation of the tax code. So before those things happen, ang una talagang mangyayari dapat is what we call assessment of taxes or simply assessment. It is a written notice and demand by the BIR on the taxpayer for the settlement of a tax liability that is there definitely set and fixed. Siyempre, i-remind ka muna nila na ito yung mga dapat mong bayaran. Of course, hindi naman nila pwedeng gawin lang na pumunta sa'yo or sabihin sa'yo na ito yung kulang mo. Meron tayong due process dyan. First, they should conduct an examination or audit of the books of accounts of the taxpayer by a revenue officer who is armed with letter of authority. So, ito yung tinatawag normally na LOA, LOA, or LA. Meron niyang sulat, nakalagay dyan yung pangalan ng tao na mag-audit, group supervisor and revenue officer na in charge sa pag-audit ng books mo. So, may letter yon, tapos may listahan ng mga documents na kailangan mong i-provide sa kanila. Ayan, so after nila i-audit yung mga documents na binigay mo, syempre i-compute nila yung tama mong tax liabilities and i-compare sa binayaran. After that, mag-i-issue na sila ng notice of discrepancy. After the notice of discrepancy, mag-i-issue na sila ng PAN or the preliminary assessment notice. So ito na yung preliminary computation nila ng iyong dapat na tax dues. After the PAN, mag-i-issue na sila ng FAN or Final Assessment Notice and Formal Letter of Demand or FLD. Ito na yung kailangan mo na magbayad. After kasi ng PAN, pwede ka pa makipag-negotiate sa kanila. Pero pag meron ng FAN, since ayan may word ng final, final na yon. Yun na yung kailangan mong bayaran. Of course, meron ding deadline ang BIR sa pag-assess. They should assess within 3 years after the last day prescribed by law for the filing of the return. Ibig sabihin, 3 years from the deadline of filing, and no proceeding in court without assessment for the collection of such taxes shall be began after the expiration of such period. So, 3 years lang dapat. Paglampas na dyan, pwede nyo nang sabihin, prescribe na po kayo, hindi nyo na ako pwedeng i-assess. Kailan ba magsisimula ang pagbilang ng 3-year period? After the last day of filing, kung the return was filed before the last day. So, yung deadline. Kapag on or before the deadline ka nag-submit, ang bilang ng 3-year period starts from the last day of filing. Pero, kung late ka, 3 years from the date of filing. So again, kapag nag-submit ka before or during the deadline, 3 years after the deadline. Kapag late ka nag-file, 3 years after your filing. Of course, meron yang exception, ang 3-year period. Kapag merong belief na yung return mo ay false or fraudulent, ang BIR merong 10 years to assess. Of course, normally, meron yung mga separate cases pa para patunayan na false or fraudulent ang iyong return. And if before the expiration of the 3-year period for the assessment of the tax, both the commissioner and the taxpayer have agreed in writing to its assessment after such time, the tax may be assessed within the period agreed upon. So kung yung taxpayer nakipag-agree sa BIR na i-extend pa yung filing, ito yung sinasabi nila na yung agreed in writing to assess after such time, after ng 3 years, pwede yon kasi importante in writing. Pero dapat mangyari ang agreement na yon before expiration of the 3-year period. So again, exceptions to the 3-year period for assessment kapag false or fraudulent return, 10 years yan, or kapag merong agreement yung taxpayer and the commissioner. Okay, let's look at some illustrations. First, the income tax return of Luis for taxable year 2015 was filed on March 10, 2016. The tax per return is 14,000 pesos. However, upon audit by the BIR, it was discovered that the correct amount of tax payable by Luis is 20,000 pesos. An assessment for deficiency tax was made on April 5, 2019. So 2019 is 3 years from 2016. Okay? Was the assessment made on time? So, si Luis nag-file siya March 10, earlier than the deadline. Sabi natin kanina, kapag on or before the deadline, ang bilang ng 3 years is from the date of the deadline. So, ang deadline po natin lagi ng income tax return is April 15 of the following year. Okay, was the assessment made on time? The answer is yes. The assessment was made on time. The assessment for the tax deficiency is valid until April 15, 2019, or 3 years from the date following the deadline for filing the return. Okay? So, bilang tayo from April 15, 2016. Kaya, within the deadline pa din. Or, yan, made on time pa din naman yung assessment kay Luis. Next, same case. However, suppose the assessment is made on April 20, 2019. Is the assessment valid? Of course, the answer is no because it was issued after the last day for making an assessment. Dapat hanggang April 15, 2019 lang sila. The taxpayer can question the legality of the assessment on the ground of prescription of assessment. Pwede nilang sabihin, prescribed na po yung assessment period, hindi nyo na ako pwedeng habulin. Okay, same case pa din. Suppose the taxpayer filed a fraudulent return. So, after mag-audit, nakita na may fraudulent return. Either may mga documents na tampered, ganon. And this is discovered by the BIR on April 20, 2018. If the assessment is made on May 15, 2021, will the assessment be valid? So, napag-usapan natin kanina na kapag false or fraudulent return, 10 years daw ang prescription. Pero, when ang start ng pagbilang ng 10 years? Okay, so tingnan natin. The assessment is valid because it is issued within 10 years after the discovery. So kapag false or fraudulent return, ang bilang ng 10 years is after the discovery. Since the fraudulent return is discovered on April 20, 2018, the Commissioner has until April 20, 2028 to make a valid assessment. Therefore, yung assessment noong May 15, 2021 is considered valid. Okay, now let's talk about the necessary documents for the assessments. First, we have the letter of authority or LA, but it is also known as LOA or LOA. It is an official document that empowers a revenue officer to examine and scrutinize a taxpayer's books of accounts and other accounting records in order to determine the taxpayer's correct internal revenue tax liabilities. So, may pangalan doon. Kung sino lang yung taong nakalista sa letter of authority, siya lang ang may karapatan na humingi and mag-check ng ating books of accounts and other accounting records. So, normally, dalawang tao yon, yung group supervisor and yung revenue officer na naka-assign sa inyo or sa ating mga taxpayers. For audit or investigation of taxpayers under the jurisdiction of the National Office, it shall be issued by the Commissioner of Internal Revenue, and for taxpayers under the jurisdiction of regional offices, it shall be issued by the Region Director. So, dalawa lang ang pwedeng pumirma sa dulo ng LOA or ng LA, the CIR, or the Regional Director. And yung letter of authority must be served to the concerned taxpayer within 30 days from its date of issuance. So, ang letter of authority, meron yung date sa taas. Dapat matanggap na yan ng taxpayer or authorized representative within 30 days. Otherwise, null and void ang ating letter of authority. So, our LOA, the taxpayer shall have the right to refuse the service of LA unless the LA is revalidated. Pwede daw yun gawin through the issuance of a new letter of authority. However, a letter of authority can be revalidated only once for LAs issued in the Revenue Regional Offices or the Revenue District Offices. So, ito yung mangyayari kapag late na receive ng taxpayer. Twice daw in case of LAs issued by the National Office. So, pwede silang mag-reissue. Once for regional or RDO levels and twice for those issued by the National Office. Okay, so kung may deadline ang mga taxpayers, meron ding deadline ang mga revenue officer. A revenue officer is allowed only 120 days from the date of receipt of letter of authority by the taxpayer to conduct the audit and submit the required report of investigation. So kasi diba 30 days from the date of issuance of the LA, dapat ma-serve na sa taxpayer. Yung taxpayer naman, 10 days after receipt, dapat ma-provide nila yung documents. And yung revenue officer, 120 days daw. 120 days after matanggap ng taxpayer yung LA, dapat matapos na siya sa audit niya and masubmit niya ang kanyang report. If the revenue officer is unable to submit his final report of investigation within the 120-day period, he must then submit a progress report to his head of office and surrender the letter of authority for revalidation. So kung ano man yung dahilan nila, hindi nila natapos, magsasubmit sila ng progress report and yung LA considered na siyang invalid. Pwede na siyang i-revalidate. Okay, after LOA, the letter of authority, natapos na yung audit, makakatanggap na yung taxpayer ng Notice of Discrepancy. This is a document that officially informs the taxpayer of his or her deficiency taxes for the purpose of discussion of discrepancy. So, parang sasabihin na lang muna sa'yo nitong letter na to na based sa audit namin, meron kang discrepancy, may kaibahan yung binayaran mo tsaka sa dapat mong bayaran, and pag-uusapan, ipapaliwanag sa'yo kung ano yung mga discrepancy. After the discrepancy or notice of discrepancy is the PAN or preliminary assessment notice. It shows and details the facts and the laws, rules and regulations or jurisprudence on which the proposed assessment is based. It is issued after review and evaluation by the commissioner or his duly authorized representative. So, yung notice of discrepancy, hindi pa yun na-check, pag-uusapan nyo muna. Pero ito, after noon, mag-issue na ng PAN, na-review na yon ng commissioner or representative. Merong mga instances or situation na hindi na dadaan sa PAN na agad. So, ano ba yon? When the finding for any deficiency tax is the result of mathematical error in the computation of the tax appearing on the face of the tax return filed by the taxpayer. So kung computational error lang naman, wala naman ng kailangan pang i-audit na documents doon. Kaya proceed na agad sa final assessment notice. Next, when the discrepancy has been determined between the tax withheld and the amount actually remitted by the withholding agent. So, meron kang mga withholding taxes and hindi nagmatch yung na-file mo at saka nabawas sa'yo or the other way around. Hindi na kailangan ng preliminary assessment notice. Diretso na sa fine. Third, when a taxpayer who opted to claim a refund or tax credit or excess creditable withholding tax for a taxable period was determined to have carried over and automatically apply the same amount claimed against the estimated tax liabilities for the tax quarter or quarters of the succeeding taxable year. So, na-claim mo, yung nag-request ka for refund pero nagamit mo na pala. So, hindi na kailangan ng preliminary assessment notice. Kasi, ano na yung documents. Ito yung mga, kung makikita natin, yung mga situation na fund na agad, ito wala nang kailangang i-audit kasi meron ng parang matching na nakita for the discrepancies. Okay, other instances that do not require fund. When the excise tax due on excisable articles has not been paid, yan yung excise tax due natin sa mga gasolina, diesel, LPG, cigarettes, and liquors. Pag hindi yun nabayaran, fund na agad. When an article locally purchased or imported by an exempt person, such as, but not limited to, vehicles, capital equipment, machineries, and spare parts, has been sold, traded, or transferred to non-exempt person. So, exempted yung nagtinda, binenta niya sa non-exempt. Yan. Meron niyang tax discrepancy, diretso na po tayo sa fund. So, here are the cases naman when final assessment notice or FLD can be issued. First, similar din with what was discussed earlier na no need na ng fund, diretso na sa fund. Yun, when it comes to the tax withheld and yung about sa claim for tax refund. Also, when the excise tax on excisable articles has not been paid and the sale from an exempt person to a non-exempt person. So, kailan ba ang deadline ng issuance ng FUN and FLD? Failure to respond within 15 days from date of receipt of the PAN. So, 15 days after receipt of the PAN, dapat magre-reply yung taxpayer. Kapag hindi, issuehan na siya ng fine. Kasi considered na that the taxpayer is in default. If the taxpayer within 15 days from receipt of the PAN responds that he or it disagrees with the findings of the deficiency tax or taxes. Ano ba ang pwedeng gawin kapag hindi nag-agree yung taxpayer dun sa assessment? So, meron tayong tinatawag na administrative protest. The taxpayer or his duly authorized representative or tax agent may protest administratively against the aforesaid FLD or fund within 30 days from date of receipt thereof by filing either a request for reconsideration or request for reinvestigation. So what's the difference between the two? For the request for reconsideration, it is a plea of re-evaluation of an assessment on the basis of existing records without need of additional evidence. It may involve both a question of fact or law or both. So, pwede mong sabihin, pwede po ba nating i-compute ulit kung sa tingin mo mali yung may mathematical error or sa tingin mo merong isang item na dapat i-allow naman as expense, question of legality, or merong na-oversee na document, question of fact, yun, request for reconsideration. Parang ipapa-double check mo yung pag-audit and pag-assess sa'yo. However, for request for investigation, it is a plea for evaluation of an assessment on the basis of newly discovered or additional evidence that a taxpayer intends to present in their investigation. It may also involve a question of fact or of law or both. So baka meron kang mga documents na hindi mo na submit last time. May mga na-disallow na expenses. Tapos kaka-discover mo pa lang. So pwede mo pa siyang i-submit. Or additional supporting documents. Yan. Request for investigation. So, ulitin natin, kapag reconsideration, walang additional documents. Pag reinvestigation, of course, meron ng additional documents, kaya kailangan na mag-reinvestigate. Sa request for the reinvestigation, the taxpayer shall submit all relevant supporting documents in the support of his protest within 60 days or 2 months from the date of filing of his letter of protest. Kasi pwede ka namang mag-protest agad tapos hanap ka na lang ulit ng documents. So, 60 days ang deadline. Okay, here are the documents or information na kailangang nakalagay sa protest. First, the nature of the protest with consideration or investigation. If it is a request for investigation, the taxpayer shall specify in his protest the newly discovered or additional evidence he intends to present. And kailangan din, of course, ilagay ang date of the assessment notice para malaman yung deadline and the applicable laws or law, rules, and regulations or jurisprudence on which his protest is based. So, kailangan natin sabihin kung ano yung basis ng ating protesta. Otherwise, his protest shall be considered void and without force and effect. Ano daw ang mangyayari kung hindi ka nakapag-file ng protest? Nagprotesta ka pero walang aksyon na nangyari or na-deny ang iyong protest. If the taxpayer fails to file a valid protest against the FLD or fund within 30 days from date of receipt thereof, the assessment shall become final, executory, and demandable. So, di ka naman nagprotesta, ibig sabihin, tanggap mo na. Thus, no request for reconsideration or investigation shall be granted. The CIR or his duly authorized representative must act within 180 days or around 6 months if or from submission of relevant documents in case of a request for investigation. So, di ba, kapag nag-request for investigation tayo, meron tayong 60 days to submit documents. Okay, so ang BIR naman, merong 180 days to act on that after submission. From 180 days then from the filing of the protest in case of a request for reconsideration. So, same lang din. And in case of failure of the CIR to act on the protest, the taxpayer may either appeal to the Court of Tax Appeals within 30 days after the expiration of the 180-day period. So, kailangan munang hintayin na ma-expire yung 180-day period. Kasi yun lang yung time na masasabi natin na merong inaction sa ating protest. Or pwede din daw na hindi na mag-appeal sa CTA but await the final decision of the Commissioner's duly authorized representative on the disputed assessment. If denied in whole or in part yung ating assessment, the taxpayer may either, again, appeal ulit sa CTA within 30 days from receipt of the decision or elevate his protest through request for reconsideration to the Commissioner within 30 days from date of receipt of the said decision. So, kung na-deny, pwede ka ulit appeal ka ulit sa commissioner. Request ka ulit ng reconsideration. Or, pwede mo nang iakyat agad sa Court of Tax Appeals kung sa tingin mo hindi na mapapakiusapan yung BIR. Otherwise, kapag hindi mo to ginawa, the assessment shall become final, executory, and demandable. Okay, again, so dapat within 30 days kapag na-deny, mag-appeal na tayo. Otherwise, final, executory, and demandable na. Okay, let's look at some cases. Beauty received an assessment on October 6, 2018. She filed a request for reconsideration with the BIR on November 5, 2018. The request was denied, and Beauty received the decision on May 5, 2019. Was the request for reconsideration filed on time? When is the last day for filing the protest with the BIR? So, Beauty received the assessment on October 6, 2018. Since the taxpayer is given 30 days from receipt to protest the assessment. So, meron siyang until November 6, 2018 to file a protest. Therefore, filed on time ang kanyang request for reconsideration. Okay, same case. When is the last day for Beauty to submit documents supporting her request for investigation in case naman investigation ang ni-request niya? So, Beauty filed a reinvestigation on November 5, 2018. Therefore, the last day to submit supporting documents is on January 4, 2019 or 60 days from filing of the protest. When is the last day to file an appeal with the Court of Tax Appeal? So, same case tayo na however, the request was denied and Beauty received the decision on May 5, 2019. So, kailan daw yung last day to appeal? The denial of the request was received on May 5 and considering the taxpayer is given 30 days to file the appeal, ang deadline last day to appeal is on June 4, 2019. Suppose Beauty submitted the supporting documents on December 1, 2018 within the deadline pa naman, and the BIR failed to act on the protest until the lapse of the 180-day period. If Beauty decides not to wait anymore for the decision, When is the last day for Beauty to appeal to the Court of Tax Appeals the inaction of the Commissioner? Okay, since the documents were submitted on December 1, 2018, the 180-day period will lapse on this May 30, 2019. Since from that date, she has 30 days to appeal the inaction of the Commissioner. Therefore, the last day to appeal to the Court of Tax Appeals is on June 29, 2019. Okay, so after the issuance of the letter of authority, notice of discrepancy, preliminary assessment notice, and financial assessment notice, saka lang pwede mag-collect ang BIR ng assessed taxes. Okay? Any internal revenue tax which has been the subject of assessment may be collected by distraint or levy or by a proceeding in court within 5 years. If assessed within the 3-year period or 10-year period, the counting of the 5-year period shall start at the date of assessment. So again, pwede mag-collect within 5 years after the issuance of the date of assessment. If assessed based on the period agreed upon between the taxpayer and the commissioner, the collection shall be made within the period agreed upon in writing before the expiration of the 5-year period. So, pwede naman mag-agree ang taxpayer and the commissioner kung kailan pwede mag-collect. But it should be also before the expiration of the 5-year period. For surcharges, mga additional na payment ton, kailangang bayaran ng taxpayer. It is a civil penalty imposed by law as addition to the main tax required to be paid. So, bukod sa kulang mong taxes, meron ka pa dyang compromise penalty, interests, and surcharges. It is not a criminal penalty, but a civil administrative sanction provided primarily as a safeguard for the protection of state revenue and to reimburse the government for the heavy expense of investigation and loss resulting from the taxpayers' fraud. Okay, so those are the discussions about the tax remedies that our government has. And if you have any question, you can just comment it down. Thank you.